Bottoming, the final frontier. These are the stories of the star shit enter his prize being his butt. Do you get this reference?
Did you say star?
Yeah. Our continuing mission to explore strange worlds being the butts. And also informing you guys on how to bottom properly because Jesus Christ, did you see this? This is the reason for this episode.
Bottoming, you have 10 Imodiums, and then
What?
you have a fleet.
10?
Can you even imagine taking 10 Imodiums? What would that do to your system?
Okay, we'll talk about that.
You would be so blocked.
Roll the opening. Hello, and welcome back to
What's Safe Word?
I'm Amp.
I'm Miss Christopher.
And today, we're bottoming.
Well, not both of us.
Well, in our day and age, people are still doing shit literally like this, where they're taking 10 Imodium to bottom. And while that clip was specifically from a Gay Awards, so it is a gay sex worker, a star if you will, it still applies that we shouldn't be perpetuating that kind of bottoming diet. You've bottomed a few times, right?
Just a few.
So today, we're gonna take all the questions you have about bottoming, and a lot of you might find information today that we've talked about many a time before, but this is specifically to talk about bottoming, pleasure, how to do it properly, and I even learned a few things while researching this episode. So we asked you guys for questions online. Daddy, can you pull out the... right here in this thread, if you don't follow us on the social medias, why not? Good. So whether you're new, aspiring, or a seasoned bottom, today's episode should be for you, and we're gonna go over the basics of bottoming, pleasure, and cleaning out.
And how to be squeaky clean.
But even if you're trying to be squeaky clean, sometimes shit does happen, and we'll talk about that too. And if you are a new bottom, Daddy, what is bottoming?
Bottoming is the receiver of penetration, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Thank you. Medically sound advice right there.
But how does it feel?
Well, it feels different for everybody, which is why some people don't like it.
And why some people avoid it indefinitely. And it is very intimate and lovely, but if you're not ready for it, it can be a little taxing. Let's get into the questions. The first question comes from Moto, who asks, so 10 No. Bad dog, don't do that.
No,
No.
that was bad advice.
As much as I know that's a joke, some of y'all will see that and be like, oh, it's fun to do that. No. Next question. The first real question comes from Red Rock, who says, how do I know if I'm even going to actually enjoy bottoming? And I think that's a very valid way to start this conversation. How did you know you enjoyed bottoming?
So I think a lot of people are apprehensive about it because before you bottom, your hole is very tight. So you need to loosen it up.
Let loose.
It needs to be able to relax enough
I said let loose.
to find pleasure in it. Otherwise, if you're tense and clenching up, you're gonna find no pleasure.
When your entire life is spent dispelling things out of your backside, putting something in the opposite direction is gonna be very jarring. And I've never spoken to someone who said their first bottoming experience was fun and pleasurable, because usually the first time you try to bottom, it's you exploring your body for the first time. And so before you even figure out if you're a bottom or top, if you're gonna enjoy it, I would recommend getting familiar with your, like actually putting a finger up there, squeezing and relaxing a bit, but also being kind, gentle, and use some freaking lube.
And start with small toys and leave them in there for a little bit so your anus gets used to the sensation.
And when we say small, we mean small. Like there are plenty of toys that are the size of a finger. And for me, I thought that bottoming was never gonna happen for me
It's not going to happen.
because my first boyfriend tried fingering, and a bony finger, at least for me, I can feel every little tiny bone and crevice, and it didn't feel nice at all, even after I did relax a bit.
But you're hypersensitive.
I'm sensitive, Aubrey.
And that's okay.
Just because I'm the princess in the pea spot up in here, okay? And we'll talk about what a pea spot is too, because that's what the prostate is. That's what makes it pleasurable.
Is that when you put peas up it?
No!
You have 10 Imodiums.
And the next question leads into this conversation really nicely from Kareem, who asks, how can a rookie bottom loosen up a bit? Now for me, when I went to the first sex shop with my boyfriend, who I started doing anal with, we went in there and my eyes were bigger than my hole, and I got this like normal sized dick-shaped dildo, and I didn't get that in for the first couple months of bottoming because it was a normal size. It was not perfect.
So again, start small, use a lot of lube.
Toys are gonna be paramount to that, and anal training kits are the one thing I always recommend for new bottoms. Kits that come with nice silicone toys that ease up. So they start really small and they get to a bigger size, but they do so incrementally in a way that's not going to cause harm or hurt yourself, because if you put yourself out of commission, that is one area that gets used frequently even when you're not bottoming. It's gonna take a while to heal.
And rimming is a good way to warm up. This is why you see it in a lot of, before they start to rim each other and just make little sensations around the rim.
Can you show me how you would do that?
Hot, right? So hot.
That's the least sexy thing you can
We
do
are
while fingering.
so demonetized at this point.
Next question. What is the average time for cleaning out? How long is too long? So cleaning out.
So this is where a lot of people go wrong, because an average penis or toy size is only about this big.
That's quite big.
You don't need to clean all the way up your colon.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take too long, and then water gets trapped up there, which means it will release when you don't want it to. And so just 15, 20 minutes should be long enough.
Cleaning out should be maybe a 15-20 minute process if you're just getting ready for a little anal that's coming up shortly. There are other ways to clean out deeply, which we'll get to, but you also want to be conscious of there are good bacteria in your biome that you don't want to disrupt by cleaning out every day. This is not a process that you should do for hours,
2-hour douching.
2 hours? You are insane. You are a nightmare person.
but also not something you should do every day.
What's a biome? Is that your butt?
Like good
You're
bacteria.
calling your biome a butt?
Yeah. Well, what do you call your butt?
Not a biome.
What do you call it then? Huh? What, you're gonna be? Yeah. What is it?
Like free range on the biome?
If you're gonna be anal about my biome, what do you call yours?
I call it my tushy.
Jesus. But let's talk about that. What are some of the tools? This next question leads into that well from Freyer, who asks, what's the best way to clean out down there? Do you recommend any specific products or procedures? For me, I wake up and I take a cup of Metamucil. Like, that's just a good thing.
Do you really?
Yeah. It's not only recommended by doctors because it helps you to keep yourself regular, but it gets some fiber in your diet, which does help with bowel movements.
Now, when you say a cup of Metamucil, you mean a teaspoon with water, right?
No, I just
Not-
chug
not
an
like a
entire
cup.
powder.
Because you're starting to sound like that tweet.
No.
I
Literally,
take a
yes. I
measuring
take
cup,
a cup of water that
fiber.
I have mixed my fiber drink
Thanks for being
into.
clear. I appreciate
God.
that.
And then I take 10 ammonium. But what are some tools?
Doing some enema kits or shower shots, or maybe even today's sponsor, Tushy.
Have you wanted to ask me a question today?
Does that say, ask me about my biome?
Just roll the sponsor clip. Today's episode sponsor is Tushy. And if you've never heard of Tushy, they are an at-home bidet system that takes literally less than 10 minutes to install.
How to put this shit together.
And I know
story.
that because I watched you try to do it, and you don't like reading directions. And even with that in mind, all it took was a screwdriver, a little bit of patience, and just a little cup to catch some water in if there was excess water from your toilet.
Which I was very skeptical. I thought it would have to be plugged into the wall. Doesn't use electricity.
And for me, whenever I use the bathroom back there, even if I'm not cleaning out, it always feels a little weird when I don't get a full clean wipe. It doesn't feel nice. And not only that, but when your butthole is dry back there, it can lead to anal fissures or even hemorrhoids because you're not cleaning properly and maybe you're squeezing too much. That's where Tushy comes in and not only helps you get a good clean back there when you're all done, but minimizes and reduces toilet paper.
That's true, because I have been in situations where I knew the wipe wasn't clean and I would fold the toilet paper, go over to the sink, get some water on it, come back, and then do dry toilet paper on top of it.
That's why my toilet mat is all gross. Ew! So using Tushy, you can now have a fresh stream of water the same as your sink and shower. And if we're being honest here, it feels really nice too. Trying it for the first time was a little jarring because I was not expecting my toilet to spit at me.
So,
Wow.
yeah. It self-cleans
Uh-huh.
first, and then it...
That is powerful. Oh my
Yeah, that's really good. That's a really clever design.
Every Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and 12-month warranty. It's risk-free, and you can join over the 3 million real pooping humans who have made the switch to a cleaner and more confident butt. By trying out Hello Tushy for a limited time, our listeners get 10% off the entire order with offer code WATT at checkout. That's 10% off your order at HELLOTUSHY.com with promo code WATT.
So thank you again, Tushy.
Now check out Hello Tushy, and you can join over the 3 million butts that are pooping with ease. An advertising line I never thought I'd say, but
This is
welcome to
my
the channel.
favorite sponsor ever.
Let's get to the next question, though, about being anal, and it comes from Scotty Blue, who actually follows up our last question asking, what's better? Shower shot versus douche, pros, cons, etc. Now, this is the conversation that some of y'all bottoms need to have, because I talk to some of my friends, and they're shower shotting every time they bottom. And while that is good for a long-term clean, maybe you're doing some fisting or something a bit more in-depth, what would you recommend if your trick was on the way in 30 minutes and you just needed a quick clean?
Actually, a bulb or an enema kit is probably better for that because the shower shot does spray too much up further than you want it to go.
And sometimes the pressure is a little too much. The number of TikToks I've seen where a twink's like, I'm traveling at my shower at my B&B and I don't know what to do. And they like turn on the shower shot and it like pressure washes the ceiling.
The water comes out their nose.
It's a fucking cartoon. Obviously, the pros of a shower shot is you're gonna get a very deep clean and you're able to kind of control how deep you go, but it is gonna cause maybe some cramps as you get all the water out. And that's for a 30-minute to an hour-long cleaning out process. If you're going over an hour, even an hour and a half, that might just cause you to be cleaning out too long and you might get so much residual water that bottoming might be hard. Whereas a bulb is more of a 15 to 30-minute cleaning out process.
However, shower shop is technically a little easier because you don't have to keep unscrewing and refilling that bulb and walking across the bathroom to the toilet.
It's a little awkward sometimes.
Yes.
There's actually this really handy website that we'll link down below that has some wonderful graphics to kind of spell out the best practices. It talks about the time, as well as your ease of use, as well as the economical nature of some of the cleaning out processes, from shower shot to bulb to even a fleet enema. Though, if you get the over-the-counter fleet enemas from the store,
Pour it out.
yeah, get that saline solution out of there because that will give you the actual, not bad way.
Not good. I had a model once that could have used that because we gave them a fleet enema on set. They squeezed it up there, and they thought that you squeeze it up, hold, and it ate all the bad stuff. That's what they told us
And it
later
just
after they
disappeared.
flooded the set.
Oh my God.
Not pretty.
And it should be noted that shit does happen, but being the most prepared bottom helps a lot, especially when you know your body. If you feel the water getting up into here and you're feeling that cramping, sometimes it does help to do like a little jig to like move it around and get it out.
You do that little jig again? Is that your little cramping hose
Yeah.
out jig?
You should know that like that feeling means that there's still water in there. So you, like a little massage, a little jig. Even the water temperature can change how you're shower shotting and cleaning out.
Cold water will make your internal organs tighten.
And warm water will help you loosen up. So warm water near the beginning usually helps the process, and cold water at the end helps to keep you nice and tight.
Notice we never said hot.
Yeah, no. No. And I really feel for this next question from Sebastian, who says, how do you prepare when you share a bathroom with straight roommates? Move out. Just nope, straight people can't understand. They don't understand your struggle.
I don't understand the problem there. Don't you close the bathroom door?
Close the bathroom door. And also, why not just have a conversation with them? Jokes aside, like straight people have anal sex too.
Are you hiding it from them?
I don't know.
Do they not know what butt sex is?
Quite literally, I have studies from Women's Health that did a study in 2023 about pegging. And they actually said that sales of tools for pegging, or toys, were up 44% just last year, and that 16% of people had said that they tried it, and 1 in 3 having done anal at some point in their sexual life.
And I believe that more straight men are discovering their prostates and getting into this.
I think that part of it has to do with a bit of stigma around sex in general, but also, yeah, straight people being a little bit more open and maybe having more gay friends. But I think the real question here is, how do you prepare when you share a bathroom? Because, and I don't know if you have the same experience, when I'm cleaning out, I live alone thankfully, but you have a few instances where you're like, oh, I'm done. Oh, and then 5
no, I'm
minutes
not.
later you're not, yeah. And it can be a little awkward if you live with someone, because you have to be like, oh, I gotta use the bathroom again. Like, what are the telltale signs that you're like, done?
When it comes out clean, when you can't push anything out,
And you shouldn't be pushing too hard, because that can cause stress in your body.
and when you come back 5 minutes later and try.
After the little jig.
Yeah,
Can
I
you
mean,
do a little
you
jig
don't
with me?
always have to do the jig.
No, you have
but-
to. No,
okay.
it's the clean out. jig.
Actually, squatting up and down will help as well.
Yeah, do leg day, just not at the gym. Oh,
Yeah, don't see if you're cleaned out at the gym doing leg day. That could end disastrously.
That would be dangerous. very dangerous.
Now, we've kind of avoided this next question a little bit. I'm saving it till now for the people who are really interested.
Okay.
And it is when bottoming goes wrong, when cleaning out's maybe a little too difficult. And it comes from a good friend of the show and guest, Buck Harder, who asks, what's the best way to prevent fissures?
Fissures, not fishermen. Fissures.
No, we don't mind semen back there as long as you got consent. We're talking about fissures or anal fissures. Now, an anal fissure is when you have a small tear from maybe your skin being too dry before you do anal, or just from too much use or using things that are too big back there. And it can cause some pain and some prolonged healing if you don't take it seriously when your body starts to like feel that throbbing.
So lots and lots of lube.
Sure. How can you avoid them? Well, you make sure that you warm yourself up. I always put a toy in myself after cleaning out before I even do some butt stuff, just to get myself warmed up. It's like stretching for any sport. And if you're gonna take bottoming seriously, you should treat it as such.
And don't start too large. Always err on the side of smaller.
If you're getting any of this kinds of irritation between a fissure and a hemorrhoid, and you're feeling pain or even seeing blood, you should obviously stop.
Stop.
You better stop!
Assess the situation. Give yourself a few days, and if you still feel that pain, that's when you might want to talk to an actual proctologist or doctor and make sure that you are doing everything right for your body.
And don't try to jump into it too soon if that happens to you.
This is where listening to your body is very, very important.
Let me hear your body talk. Your body talk. Let me hear your body talk. That's screaming.
Well, if it's saying that, you should stop. Next question. This question comes from RIP My Butt, who says, how many Imodium is too many Imodium? Okay, I'm gonna assume this is not a joke.
And if their name is RIP My Butt, I'm not sure.
I've read the Imodium box, I've done the studies. It is not recommended you take more than 4 pills or 8 milligrams.
And
of
I even
Imodium.
think that's too much.
It is, in a 24-hour period. Now, if you are having a problem back there of the actual, like, you know, kind,
Not to be confused with
it is recommended that you can take 2 pills after a proper bowel movement. Now, if you are having some back there, I'm not gonna recommend you do anal. Give your body a chance to recover. That said, do not take 10. Don't even take 8. Like, more than 4 is clinically not recommended by a doctor.
Because sometimes, no matter how good you clean out, it depends on what your body's like and what you've eaten. And sometimes your body just doesn't cooperate. So know when to throw in the towel and say, it's not gonna happen tonight.
And here's where we get into the mythical part of the episode. Because Atticus asks, are there any tips or surefire ways to achieve a hands-free orgasm? Much like a unicorn, they're hard to find, but they do exist. And
Try sitting on a unicorn horn.
so the hands-free orgasm is essentially just getting off without stimulating your parts. And it's not always easy, but it is possible. Have you ever had a hands-free orgasm?
Only 1 or 2 times, and it still required me to have pressure somewhere on the outside of my body.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rule book that says no touching anything. I would say that to achieve such an orgasm, it helps to be in tune with your body in a number of other ways. Some people call it O breathing or orgasmic breathing, where you're doing like Kegels or you're squeezing that pubic coccygeus muscle that helps with like peeing and urination. But building that floor, that pelvic floor, helps you to be more in tune with your orgasms, but also through breathing and squeezing properly, you can achieve an orgasm if you have that kind of tantric body connection.
Denial, like chastity, is a great way to do it. That pent-up energy really helps to build and get to that point.
Vibration, toys, even stimulating the chest for some people who are especially wired around there. I know many people that can get off just by squeezing and getting those nipples in play. Next question. And this one comes from Poke Raj, who asks, does gravity affect penetration? And this led me down a very interesting rabbit hole of studying, where I found out NASA has gone on record to say that no one's had sex in space. Wink, wink.
Okay.
What's up with that, NASA?
Can that be true? That can't be true.
Because, and they even have a rule that says married people can't go into space together. Well, there was one couple that went into space together before they let them know that they were gonna get married and they had a relationship. So there's something happened up there. But it should also be noted that if you are in space, that does affect not only egg cycles, but your sperm. It actually affects that. So it's very hard to have pregnancy in space, especially when you encounter radiation. We're in space. Why are we talking about space?
I don't know. We feel like we went down a very weird rabbit hole here.
We've been focusing on the bottom a bunch, but how about this next question that comes for the tops? And it comes from Italith, who asked, from a top perspective, how many bottoms have had an extremely bad first experience? I find myself regularly being hit up by curious guys who have had a bad first experience and who want to try again and trust to be their second top, sometimes years after it happened. How was your first experience?
My first experience actually hurt, and I think I did do the same. I waited a few years before I tried it again.
One of my first experiences after I got to know my body was terrible. I had a top that was a little bit bigger than I had even imagined. I did clean out, but I didn't clean out properly or for what I was getting into. And the amount of shame that I got from that guy as he literally, my underwear, my pants aren't even up, and he's like, you gotta go. And he's literally pushing me out the front door and shaming me the entire way, and then immediately blocked me on said dating app. That left a lot of deep-seated shame in my cleaning out process and making sure that I'm fully clean back there.
And this is the problem with a lot of tops who treat all bottoms the same. A tight hole isn't necessarily easy to penetrate.
Also, that guy didn't use lube. I didn't know like a full cleaning out process. I probably didn't eat great that day. But I've also had tons of tops, yourself included, that have been forgiving and loving. And when they see a little bit of muddy water or something, they say, hey, do you have a towel? Or, hey, would you like to quickly use the restroom? And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's very kind to give me an option and even give me like a, hey, everything's, good, but we could be better.
I always say, you do need a spot check.
That is a kind way to just tell the bottom, take your time. It's all good. I'm not going to shame or judge you. I want to make sure we both have fun here. Ooh, similarly, Andy asks, how should bottoms deal with guys who just shove it in and don't care if it hurts? Because sometimes it takes time to get used to it.
Stop.
You better stop.
Ah, yeah.
Stop. That's when you use your safe word. Say, too big! That's your safe word. Too big.
Ask them to stop for a second. If you're doing like a missionary or like face to face, I go, hey, ooh, 1 second. You are lovely, but I need a second just to breathe. Or ask them for more lube. I have my lube always above my headboard. I just go, whoopah, whoosh. Hey, would you like some more lube? Because it'll make it better for both of us.
Care for a fucking?
And then pour the entire bottle. Howlett Unleashed has a really fun question, actually, I didn't expect, who asks, other than washing with soap, how else can I make my butt taste better for my partners?
Tasty hole.
There are tons of butt scrubs and exfoliators that actually are recommended by anal specialists and doctors who say that it's important to exfoliate and wash your butt as well.
And there are a lot of flavored scrubs that can actually make it taste great too.
The only thing I'll say about those is you're gonna wanna make sure not to get those actually in the anal cavity. That is where it can cause irritation and inflammation. Just get in the outside, just exfoliating a little bit, much like your skincare. Don't get it in your eyeballs, just wipe it on, wash it off.
Wipe on, wipe off.
This next one from Curlington Foat Factory, that hurt to say.
You mean like Burlington Coat Factory?
That's what I meant. Asks, I recently found out I have hemorrhoids.
I have hemorrhoids.
I'm versed, but recently wanted to get more into bottoming, and I'm tired of always being the top. But I'm afraid it'll ruin the experience for me. Is there anything I can do, or do you know any tricks? Well, there are over-the-counter topicals that you can use if you ever have flare-ups. It's not recommended that you get into lots of anal play if you have a hemorrhoid flare-up, though. I would say listen to your body and wait for that to calm down. But if it's something that's really affecting your sexual activities, talk to your doctor. Make sure that they are at least aware of what's going on and be honest with them.
So unfortunately, I think the first thing you need to do is take care of your hemorrhoids, and high in fiber foods would help with that.
Avoid low in fat foods as well. It helps with those bowel movements. And hemorrhoids can be caused by many things, from childbirth to squeezing too hard while on the toilet to even lifting heavy things when you're not ready. So make sure that posture's good, get a tushy, and don't have a baby. And there should be one thing to mention, is that many people by the age of 50 will encounter hemorrhoids in some way. Some people will use those ointments or creams to prevent, but also just in a general sense when they don't even have a flare-up. And the one thing I will say there, which is the same thing with like desensitizing lubes, is that your body's way of telling you you are in pain is an important response. If you're using those creams outside of a flare-up or using desensitizing lubes, I will ask that you do so very intermittently and just listen to your body. I don't want you to hurt yourself from a lack of pain receptors, and I don't want you to rely on said things just to do anal, because that's gonna cause a really weird dependency where you might not even be able to do normal anal without everything in place. You wanna set yourself up for success, not for more pain.
And that goes the same for inhalants.
And last but not least, from Alex, we have a very interesting question that says, why does the shape matter so much when bottoming? Some guys, regardless of size, hurt to take.
Well, everyone has different shaped penises.
Young is like a snowflake, except that it's a dong.
Some are wider, some are girthier at the top, some are short and stubby,
Some even curve a little bit to the left.
some curve to the right.
I would say it has to do a lot with your positioning and also with your own comfort. Some of us with penises just happen to curve the right way to hit that prostate in a really lovely way, while others might be a little more rigid
And jabby.
yeah, some people will say bitey or pokey, and if that's the case, you might need to change up the position that you're doing, or maybe even change up how you're penetrating. There are sleeves that add a really nice cushion that you can put on a penis at times, but you could also just play with some toys.
And again, I can't stress this enough. Lube. Yeah.
Use more! And that is the last question. I don't know if we got to the bottom of things, but I hope that we got to things the bottoms needed.
I think we got in the bottom of things.
Well, I didn't get any. What you got? How? And of course, thank you again to Tushy. Please check them out in the link down below. Use offer code WATT. They are legitimately one of those sponsors I've been reaching out to work with, and I'm so glad they said yes.
Me too, because my tushy is squeaky clean.
And again, magical. First time I've ever had a bidet in my bathroom, and it didn't even require like heavy machinery. It took you 5 minutes to
One
install.
Phillips screwdriver is all you need.
Yeah, it was easy. But whether you're getting anal or not, it is always important to have a safe word to tell that top when he needs to stop. And today's safe word is
Closed.
what's closed?
My ass.
Oh.
Closed.
So thank you guys for listening to us getting a little anal about your asses and giving us some questions that really made me think. And I actually learned a few things by researching for this episode.
Me too. But if you have more questions, leave a comment down below.
Leave a like if you enjoyed this video.
And if you like ringing bells, ring that bell and you might be notified of the next one.
But more importantly, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. And what's a safe word? Bye! Oh, and if you live in San Francisco, I feel so bad for you bottoming. So many bathrooms, I don't know if this is the same in other cities, but San Francisco apartments and bathrooms are always split. You have a door for the shower and a door for the toilet.
So you
and
have
that
to-
is so difficult. to clean up.
Waddle from one to the other with a load of water in your ass.
Or you have to hope that, like, you know, it's mostly good to just
That's the real duck walk. Quack, quack, quack,
not
quack,
this.
quack,
I'm
quack,
just
quack,
picturing
quack.
Anitra, like, cleaning out and, like, going to the bathroom. And dip.
And release.